Hard Mark Podcast.
Shrimp on the barbie. Shrimp on the barbie. Do you respect that? That's corruption. I could make a fake snake.
You do not pee in the pool. You do not pee
on the barbie.
All of myself is clean.
Broadcasting from the top of the Space Needle, the world's greatest landmark. Take it away, MarkBot 5000.
Thanks, Eric. MarkBot 5000 here, and not the king of Memphis, Jerry Lawler. Welcome to the Hard Mark Podcast, a show where the tall, dark, and handsome Eric Donaldson, wrestling fan of over 30 years, introduces one match per episode to his co-host who has never watched wrestling. They talk about the backstory, they watch the match, and then they rank that match on their ever-growing list. Oh, I sure hope there's puppies in this match. You know what my favorite breed of puppy is, Ryan. Pointers. The purpose of the show is to see what happens when someone that's never watched wrestling is introduced to its most notable matches. And don't worry, Ryan, I know that you're a real man that stands up to pee. Probably because if you sat down, you'd smell the stink from your unwashed asshole.
Oh, fucking God.
Is this, I mean, not to belabor this point, everybody. Welcome to the Hard Mark Podcast. I don't want to, drag this bit through the mud and make it overstay its welcome, but is that the reason that you stand up to pee so much, Ryan? Is because you don't want to smell your own butt?
No.
Oh, I don't know where MarkBot 5000 is getting this information.
I stand up to pee because at the bar it says, hey, these are rooms for people who stand up to pee, and these are rooms for people who sit down to pee. That's why I do it.
I don't think it says that on the doors at all. I think it just has a little dress icon.
Take a picture of that, all right?
Do they?
Take a picture of it. Eric.
Maybe you're looking in the wheelchair room.
No, Eric, it's I learned 2, 3, 4. As a man, I got to stand up for myself and to pee. And here we are.
Here we are these years later. He's still standing up to pee and standing up for himself. And standing up for the little guy against pooper cheats. Those sons of bitches.
And burning cats.
He will not abide by burning cats. And if you don't know what the fuck we're talking about, Rumpus Time. Last week, check it out. We talk about burning cats, talk about Ryan's celebrity crush. You'll be surprised at the revelation that we make. That's a little clickbait way of getting you to listen to that. But yeah, check it out. It's nothing. Well, very little wrestling. I think we briefly talked about a wrestling thing, but I don't think it would inhibit anyone's enjoyment who's vehemently anti-wrestling. But anyone who's listening to us right now, not vehemently anti-wrestling, because we're going to talk about wrestling here today. Ryan, how does that grab you?
That's what I'm here for.
What are you doing on your computer right now? Because you're not listening to me.
It bothers me that you know what I'm...
Your whole face was lit up white from your screen. You were clearly Googling something. And I can hear you clicking. Every time you click, I can hear it.
Maybe the mouse is too close to the...
Yeah.
Can you hear that?
No. Are you doing it right now?
Yeah.
No, I can't. I don't think I can hear that.
All right. Well, figure out a solution to the problem.
I mean, maybe the problem is that you should just be paying attention to the program for our adoring public and not.
I have 17 tabs open right now.
That's a personal problem. We had a break.
It is a personal problem. I had to go through them and see what's up. I get distracted.
See what's up. You should know what's up. They're your tabs.
Yeah. Well, I can see if there's any updates. I don't know.
God, they're 50-50 that just some Pornhub stuff starts playing. Let me mention really quick. I was in a class one time and this guy was screen sharing to go over some stuff, and Pornhub was on his favorites. And is this when you were back to school while we were doing this show, that era, or is this before all that? Yeah, it was. It was recently. So okay. Yeah. I mean, I don't watch a lot of porn on my computer. I save it for my phone. At this point, a gentleman, yeah. Yeah, but that is a deep fear of mine to have something pop up on Pornhub, and just while I'm something that or a search that looks stupid, Pornhub would be worse, or I don't know,
maybe not. I wasn't like, that's to be expected, right? Everyone's just Pornhub, but
Sure.
It's just, you don't want that necessarily popping up in like a presentation,
I have a quick story actually before we get into the wrestle talk. Not necessarily what you're talking about, but along those same lines. So at our previous place of business where we met one another, there was a time in my life where I was pretty big into fantasy basketball. Everybody likes fantasy basketball, young and old. Fantasy football,
the biggest fantasy sport,
the biggest fantasy sport. Fantasy football is so 2000 and late. Fantasy basketball, everybody likes tallying up rebounds and turnovers and all that good stuff. But big fantasy basketball, Yahoo, fantasy basketball league, etc. And so there was a point where I was doing a lot of the interviewing for the workplace, and so for a very limited, brief amount of time, what they would have to do is, after we would finish interviewing them, we'd have to go to HR, ask HR to send them to their personal email address some typing test or some other thing to have to fill out. And so oftentimes, to make sure that they knew what they were doing and all that stuff, we would have them just go to our computer and log into their email that way and check it so we could make sure that they got it. And so that was happening. And so I brought somebody back to my computer to log into their email. And so they were using a Yahoo email address. And so they went there and it automatically populated my screen name for my email that I use for my fantasy basketball league, which was the Cock of Justice.
That, just knowing you, that makes sense. But for someone who's a professional interview,
I was mortified when that happened. But they were also mortified because I don't think that they necessarily knew it was my computer. And so they were just I don't know what that is. That's not mine. And so we were both equally mortified at the exact same.
Did you tell them?
No, why would I fucking tell them?
Well, they obviously thought they might have looked something up.
They can think that.
They were in a worse situation than you. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. So that,
I thought it was going to be some NBA Yahoo. I was that's not that bad, but Cock of Justice.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's great. One of the highlights of my time.
Did you hire them?
I don't know. I don't think so, but it wasn't because of that. There's some dirty porno email person. Yeah,
you had to go to Debbie and tell them what happened on their own computer.
This person was logging in as the Cock of Justice over here. We can't hire them on. But it was a
good story.
Reminded me of that time. Let's get into the wrestling. Now that we've kind of had that little amuse-bouche about the Cock of Justice, I have to come clean with you today, Ryan. I was kind of unsure of what match we were going to be watching here. We've been on a bit of a 90s kick. A lot of 90s stuff as of late. In fact, last episode, for anyone who checked that out, we actually have a brand new number one. Hooray, congratulations to both Jerry Lynn and Rob Van Dam. Among all their accolades, being ranked number one on Ryan's list of wrestling matches has probably got to be... Somebody's got to add that to their Wikipedia page. Somebody get on that. Markbot, if you're listening, and I know that you are...
I think we could do it.
I mean, the talent and the host shouldn't have to manually go in and update people's Wikipedias. But I don't disagree with you. Yeah, I was going to have us watch a match featured on WCW Nitro, and I even had my notes together. I had put all that to get the backstory and everything like that. But then the more I thought about it, that match did not feel important enough. It kind of felt like a lame duck match in the middle of some important stuff. The main thing that I wanted to kind of get across to you during that match, we can just cover it at another time. So I'm calling an audible, Ryan. Instead, we're going to be watching something that holds a special place in my heart, which is usually an invitation for you to come in and tear everything down. But we'll just see. We'll see how this goes. We'll see how it hits you. But yeah, let's get into it. So the backstory of our match here today starts all the way back in the early 1900s. Back in 1908, Ryan, a baby was born in a manger, and his name was Herbert Moeller. And that baby Herbert, we'll just call him Baby Herbie, he was born in Rye, New York. I do not know where Rye is. I'm assuming it's probably upstate New York somewhere. Have you been to New York?
I haven't. But I was curious if that's where rye bread originated from.
I don't have this pulled up in front of me. I feel very confident saying absolutely not.
No one, I mean, okay. Yeah.
Do you want me to look it up? Is this going to bother you?
I just feel like, those pastrami sandwiches are made on rye bread. It's an East Coast thing. Maybe.
Okay, hold on. Rye bread.
Or is it R-I versus R-Y? Is that a...
No, it's spelled like rye bread. You're right. It is spelled the same way. I mean, it seems like it is a German thing, which is not...
Well, Germans immigrated to New York, just like everyone else. Maybe it...
Well, yeah, okay. But yeah, it says... Oh, it's a staple through the Middle Ages. So yeah, definitely not. Definitely not New York.
Well, I'm glad you checked, because that would have bothered me I wouldn't be able to focus on the actual match.
I know how you get, and so I wanted to try and nip this in the bud.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, maybe it was named after the bread, but the bread was not named after the city. But Baby Herbie Moeller from Rye, New York. He was the son of German immigrants. Little tie in there. He has two brothers, Fritz and Otto, which if you had to name your German children, that's the way you'd probably want to go with that.
Do you think Otto came from this guy? The term automobile.
I mean, they're spelled differently.
Are they?
Otto, the name Otto is O-T-T-O. Yeah, correct.
Oh, all right.
Like Otto von Bismarck.
Like Rocket Man from Nickelodeon.
What the fuck? Some of your references just, I don't like at all. Were you a Jimmy Neutron kid? You strike me as a Jimmy Neutron kid.
I was a Rocket Power.
Oh, Rocket
Man. Sorry. Rocket Power. Otto. Yeah.
You didn't even need to correct yourself because I don't know the difference between either of those. But yes, Otto. So at the age of 8, the tender age of 8, Herbert contracted polio, which over several years he would eventually manage to recover from with assistance from his older brothers who would carry him along in a wagon. Speaking of injuries in the last episode, polio, woof, that would be not the greatest time. But as Herbie, as he grew older, despite his own physical setback with polio, he and his brother Fritz began careers as professional wrestlers, with the earliest record that I was able to find dating back to 1936. Now, when Herbert began wrestling, much like many wrestlers, both past and present, he would actually wrestle under a pseudonym, which was Hans Schnabel, or Hans Schnabel. I apologize. Hans Schnabel.
Very German.
Yes. Also, apparently Hans was his nickname. So we've got Hans, Fritz, and... What was that?
Sorry, that was distracting. My bad. I dropped my phone. Bad time to do that. You're right in the middle. Okay.
This guy. Okay.
You can restart that. Yeah.
Well, I mean, Hans Schnabel. Herbie is now, or polio Herbie is now Hans Schnabel. So Hans would go on to have a career spanning approximately 25 years. He competed all over the world, including tours in Japan and South Africa. Now, over time, Schnabel would wrestle under other names as well, including the Masked Superman and Iron Russian #2. But his greatest notoriety was under the name of Hans Schnabel, winning several tag team championships as well as other singles titles in Texas, Hawaii, and Los Angeles. But our match here today takes place in America's heartland, Ryan, Sweet Home Chicago, which I know you'll be traveling there in the very near future. Maybe you'll be having intercourse, hard to say. But the Chicago International Amphitheatre... He's got a 6-month dry spell, everybody. The Chicago International Amphitheatre is
Just fucking finish, Eric. You did this to yourself. It's the worst. It's been me drop my phone.
The match will be taking place at the Chicago International Amphitheatre. And Hans Schnabel, he is not vying for a championship here today, but you could argue that this match means more than a championship, as Schnabel is set to take on the most influential wrestler of all time, and I don't say that lightly, and arguably one of the most influential athletes / pop culture figures in modern history. So a big deal that Hans Schnabel is going to be matched up against. Born George Wagner in 1915,
He dropped out of school at the age of 14 and worked odd jobs to support his family. One of these odd jobs was wrestling at carnivals, which served to provide George with the skills needed to survive in the wrestling business of that era. While matches were cooperative and the winners were predetermined even back then, it was not uncommon for opponents to be at odds with one another, and double crosses were always a possibility if somebody wanted to make a name for themselves at somebody else's expense. So it was very important that you know how to actually protect yourself in the ring in case your opponent decided, hey, I want to try and make a name for myself really quick and pin this guy for real. So the wrestling business of this era, again, we're talking about around the 30s or so, 30s to 40s. The wrestling business of this era was presented as 100%. What are you laughing about?
Nothing. Just go ahead.
What are you laughing about?
Nothing. It's just I remember
your dry
the
spell
last match in the It's the last match we watched in the 50s was just
The oldest match we've seen so far, just out of in case, because I think you're trying to rack your brain. It was the Terrible Ted, the Wrestling Bear match.
Yes.
This has 2 human components to it. If that
it doesn't necessarily matter.
Okay, all right. But so again, wrestling business of this era was presented as 100% legitimate. While astute viewers...
Wait,
go ahead.
I have a question. Sorry to interrupt.
Yes.
Isn't wrestling today presented as 100% legitimate?
I mean, it's...
understanding that most people, know and, but isn't it presented? Isn't that the whole point of it? If it was presented any other way, it wouldn't... It's always been presented that way.
Well, there's a lot more winking at the audience nowadays than there used to be. This was...
I can see it. Okay.
This is presented as, an actual, sport where guys are doing things that would only, in theory, happen in, a real fight type of stuff. Granted, there was definitely a lot more, showmanship involved and athleticism and whatnot. But nowadays you have people with putting their hands in their pockets in matches, and you have big flips and stuff like that. So it's Vince McMahon himself in the 1980s basically came out and said, this is not a sport, this is sports entertainment. They weren't doing that back then. Although there were, there was a guy named Jack Pfeffer who, after he got blocked out of the pro wrestling business, basically did this big expose where he said that wrestling was not on the legit end of things. And so that actually kind of tanked the wrestling business in the New York area for a very long time.
Oh.
Yeah. Even though it was presented as 100% legitimate, astute viewers could likely pick out logic holes and items that didn't quite add up. What?
God, I'm sorry. No, it just sounds exactly like what wrestling is today. What you just said right after that. Viewers could pick out holes and
There were less holes to pick out, but there were still some holes.
It sounds like 1950s era. I just moved on to 2010 era, but it's just on a more broad scale.
Well, we'll see.
I'm sorry, but
I don't think
holes in what I said, and then you said the exact. Okay.
I'm just providing some backstory, some clarification here. But you're right, and I think that'll be one of the main takeaways of our match here today is that while there are stylistic differences that have happened over the past 70 years, you can definitely trace a line and be like, oh, the wrestling business is really not that much different than it was at this point in time. But especially in the early 1900s, you'd have matches where guys would put each other in a headlock for 20 to 30 minutes. So there was that element, and then people had to start. And I know Ryan will have matches where oh God, it took forever. They don't actually sit in headlocks for 20 minutes at a time. But that was not uncommon to happen in the early 1900s. But yeah, back here at this particular point in time, there was no tongue-in-cheek element of wrestling to speak of. The top stars of the time, where they were clean cut, they would wear black boots, black trunks, and they would engage in no frills wrestling. So as George Wagner, made his way through the pro wrestling ranks, it dawned on him that there was an opportunity to bring a bombastic element to wrestling that was sorely missing. While good guys and bad guys were nothing new, George took that concept and he elevated it to a level previously unheard of. So in 1941, on a show in Eugene, Oregon, of all places, George Wagner emerged for his match but gone was his jet black hair, and in its place was magnificently curled locks of platinum blonde held up by bobby pins. Clad in a beautiful robe decorated with sequins and flowers, George entered the ring to the sounds of Pomp and Circumstance, aka the graduation song, which was another innovation in the world of wrestling. Prior to this, people did not use entrance music, so he really innovated that concept right here. As he approached the ring, George's valet, Jeffries, would lay down a red carpet while also holding a silver mirror in front of George so that he could admire himself. And as George removed his opulent robe, Jeffries would spray the ring itself, the ringside fans, and the referee with perfume so as not to pollute George's airspace with their filth. And with these pieces in place, George Wagner would go on to become Gorgeous George. Now, I've been watching wrestling for a long time, Ryan. But Gorgeous George's heyday predated my fandom by about 40 years or so. But I'll always remember my grandpa, who knew how big of a wrestling fan that I was, telling me stories about old-time wrestling from years back. And the centerpiece of those stories was always Gorgeous George. And that is no surprise, as the rise of Gorgeous George, a.k.a. the Toast of the Coast, a.k.a. the Sensation of the Nation, a.k.a. the Human Orchid. Almost as many nicknames as you have, Ryan. It corresponded directly with the rise of network television. So it's been said that Gorgeous George's notoriety sold as many televisions as Milton Berle. I know you're a big Milton Berle fan here, Ryan. And as everyone wanted to see the prim and proper George get what was coming to him. And so his outlandish interviews only served to rile people up that much more. So we're talking about a huge star in not just the United States, but the world over in Gorgeous George.
Okay.
George's popularity, just to kind of set the stage for what level of star we're talking about, his popularity is possibly best illustrated with this fact. Due to a combination of factors like the Great Depression, World War II, and a general lack of interest in professional wrestling for the reasons that we talked about before about Jack Pfeffer, Madison Square Garden stopped running professional wrestling shows back in 1937. 12 years later, wrestling returned to Madison Square Garden with Gorgeous George featured in the main event. He was such an attraction that he commanded 50% of the ticket sales to the event. So that was his basically bar to entry for him to compete. And so they were like, fuck it. Yeah, give him 50% of the gate, which was, again, unheard of at that point in time.
What would you say a star in like the 1990s would take? Like,
I mean, like for the WWF?
Yeah. And probably, like, I guess it would be different because they were doing like maybe pay-per-view stuff too. Like,
and merchandise.
General percentage, like, what would you say? Like, is
they would take a percentage of the house and then kind of like divvy it up among all the guys. But I'd say if you were like a Stone Cold Steve Austin in like the height of the 90s, I can't imagine that you were getting much more than like 10 or so % of the gate. If I had to just guess, I mean, yeah, for like WrestleMania, a lot of times in recent years, you hear about people getting like $1 million payoffs for that one night. And I mean, if you had to speculate on what the ticket sales cost, we're talking multiple millions at that point. Wow. So yeah. That's right. And to kind of put this into perspective, this event, the Madison Square Garden show, and other events that he was a part of led to George being one of the highest earning athletes of that era. He earned over $100,000 per year at his peak. As a reference point, at the same time frame, the only Major League Baseball player to come close to that would be Joe DiMaggio, whose salary was exactly $100,000. No other Major League Baseball player would hit that mark until Willie Mays in 1963, about 15 years later.
Wow.
So this is a big deal guy. Like the equivalent of $100,000 back then would be multiple millions of dollars now.
Yeah.
Arguably more important, Gorgeous George's impact on the generation of children that grew up watching him was immense. Muhammad Ali himself claimed that he met George in Las Vegas at the age of 19, where George imparted some wisdom that would shape Ali's career. which was, a lot of people will pay to see someone shut your mouth. So keep on bragging, keep on sassing, and always be outrageous.
There you go.
And so if you watch a Muhammad Ali promo, an interview, he's literally channeling Gorgeous George when he's doing that.
Do you think that like that defined all like combat sports? Because you see a lot of that in like you running your mouth now. It's like it's emotional, but like did it start from like was that his kind of thing? Like
yes,
you know.
I think you could trace a line directly from all, like Conor McGregor now, you could draw a line back to Gorgeous George with that.
I've never heard of Gorgeous George, so this is some good info.
He's an iconic figure, and I think, and you're going to find, and you've already kind of touched on this subject already, a lot of the things that he's doing now, you just think like, that's wrestling. The reason you think it's wrestling is because of Gorgeous George. Other people were not. He innovated all these things that we just kind of assume have always been wrestling. Those things just weren't done until he came around.
Well, and also like his era was like, I think their generation was known as like the quiet generation or whatever. So like, you know, kind of maybe not too like outlandish and like, you know, so
right.
Like, so it's kind of interesting, you know.
Very much so. Yeah. And so, and of course that made it all the more likely that if you can be the guy who's breaking that mold and not doing that, people are going to want to see you get your ass kicked. And along with Muhammad Ali, James Brown also claimed that he used many of Gorgeous George's antics and mannerisms to create the James Brown that was seen on stage. And even Bob Dylan claimed that meeting Gorgeous George changed his life. So we're talking like these pillars of American pop culture in James Brown, Muhammad Ali, Bob Dylan, and all of them cite Gorgeous George as being a gigantic influence on all of them. And lastly, and I don't have anywhere else to put this morsel of information, so I'm just sticking it right here. I recently saw a YouTube clip that was posted by the WWE of Gorgeous George wrestling in Seattle's Aqua Theater, which was a ring literally set up on top of Green Lake.
Oh, shit. Like, just on the shore, kind of? Like, people could watch it? Like where...
The video quality is not great. But I think it was kind of like somewhere where it was visible, where you could see, like people could sit on the shore and like see, but the ring itself was on top of Green Lake, the water. And so the idea was...
That's something I would go to. Fuck yeah, like.
All right, so with all of that in place, today we're going to see a match between the cowardly and pretentious Gorgeous George. He's going to be taking on Hans Schnabel in a rare, which Hans Schnabel is in a rare position of being the good guy in his match. And so this is going to be taking place, again, as we mentioned, in the Chicago International Amphitheatre. It is going to take place on November 3rd, 1950, and this is going to be a best 2 out of 3 falls match, as was very commonplace in the time. So it's not...
What does that mean?
It means if you beat... Let's say we're wrestling, right? And you beat me. You beat me in 1 fall. Now we're going to wrestle again.
So it's 3 pens or 2 pens.
Yeah, best 2 out of 3, exactly. Yeah. So the first man to beat their opponent twice will be the victor, and Gorgeous George has insisted that it be written into the contract that Hans is not allowed to pull his hair. Do not touch Gorgeous George's hair, motherfucker. And that's our match.
Sounds, as much as you try to disassociate, or not just, but like this sounds so much like a fucking classic 2000s wrestling match or late 90s. Like it's shocking. Like
for sure. I mean, you replace the kiss my ass with the don't touch my hair. I mean, yes, it fits in. Like
even a don't touch my hair would like make sense today. Like,
there are matches in the 90s where I've seen basically that whole thing. But as far as the data going into our match here today, Ryan's record 35 wins, 29 losses, and 1 draw. He is on a 3-match losing streak. So we'll see if we can turn that. Your longest losing streak is 5. So you are actually approaching that. We'll see how it goes, though. Ryan has won our oldest match to date, which was Terrible Ted versus Gene Dubois. That happened in the 1960s. So we'll see how this goes. Maybe you're more of an old soul, Ryan. I guess we're about to find out. Any questions before we watch this thing?
No.
All right. Well, we will take a brief commercial break. We'll be back with our thoughts about Gorgeous George versus Hans Schnabel. Thanks, everybody.
And here it is. Gorgeous George, one of the Oh no, ostrich well, shades of Sally Rand. Police. Ostrich feathers, no less.
The contestant in this corner from Los Angeles, California, weighing 240 pounds, Hans Schnabel.
There he is, the old powerhouse himself.
His opponent in the opposite corner, that toast of the coast, that human orchid, George George. The referee, Sid Novak.
George is out of the ropes. Another body, no, another backbreaker. Oh, fine. Boy, has he got him loused up. Hans, temper, leave us not lose it. George trying to get back in. Hans is bound and determined he's not going to get back in. Get out of the way. Uh-oh, Novak's going to call it off here. That's one thing these referees in Illinois will not stand for, is being roughed up. The West Coast referees take a lot of abuse from these wrestlers, but in Illinois they have been instructed not to. And so Sid Novak has disqualified Hans. George has won the match. There's his hand held high.
The referee disqualified Hans Schnabel, gave the fall the winner, Gorgeous George.
Don't go pushing him, Hans. You might have to ride.
We are back. We just watched Gorgeous George. So pretty, so beautiful, so absolutely gorgeous. Take on Hans Schnabel. What'd you think of the match, Ryan? Did you enjoy it?
It was fine. Like I thought the historical tie-ins to like today's wrestling was interesting. But,
yes.
Yeah, and I thought that was interesting to watch. But
it's definitely it is a different style of wrestling. I mean,
it's not that I don't want people to think I'm on here to like shit on like wrestling that isn't on a ladder. You know, that's not my like.
Right.
It's not my point. Like I understand it's different era wrestling, but in part of that made it like it wasn't, you know, but just 27-minute match where I fucking, you know, come out looking like an asshole. Like,
you lost. You picked against the cultural icon. You picked against.
I should have
you picked against the man who influenced Muhammad Ali, Bob Dylan, James Brown. You picked the random German guy with polio. But,
Hans, man.
How could you have known? How could you have known? But let's get into the notes for our match here today. First things first. Maybe. Well, one of the biggest takeaways: the commentary. I loved that commentary.
Commentary was good. It was actually really good. Like high up there on the match, but
phenomenal commentary. Yeah, definitely.
You know, I don't know how much you would tie it, but there was no crowd. There was no crowd there. There was 1950s crowd who couldn't even get riled up a little bit for Hans and, you know, Gorgeous George. Like they couldn't even get there. Like
yeah, we heard him at a few points, but yeah, it was kind of few and far between. But I think that there was kind of a constant hum, a constant buzz. Yeah. But yeah, I guess I didn't even think about that element. But you're right. When we enter into this match, when we watch the video, Gorgeous George's valet, Jeffries lays out the carpet for George. Pomp and circumstance hits in the arena. Gorgeous George emerges, starts removing the bobby pins from his hair and throwing them out to the peasants, which, again, he didn't call them bobby pins. He called them Georgie pins.
I thought I was throwing, like, coins at him. I didn't realize he was...
That would have been good, too. That would have been also good. But we got the ring introductions. You notice how not only were the people ringside like that were part of this event wearing suits, but all the fans, all the people in the crowd as well, all like decked out in their fineries, which you were very taken aback by.
I'm not taken aback by it. I don't get it.
So if you had to have dinner with a relative of yours, the first question is, how come you guys dressed up for everything all the time?
Yeah, that'd be a great question. Yeah, exactly.
That's the thing I most want to know about. From there, The referee begins checking Hans at George's request. George wants to make sure nothing's being hidden in the back of the robe or anything like that. Jeffries, his assistant, helps George remove his ostrich robe. I laughed pretty hard when George was lifting his robe up to show that he wasn't hiding anything. That fucking classic fucking stuff. George, very subtle move, but like when the referee's giving both guys the instructions, he has his hands on both their shoulders. Eventually, George, after he removes the hand, brushes the dirt from the referee's hand. Very subtle, but just a great bit of character work. For the match itself, they begin circling before they lock up. I don't know how many of I've got some commentary gems scattered throughout my notes here. George with a bit of skullduggery, which is one of my favorite words of all time. Anytime you can use that in day-to-day life, always a good idea.
I miss that.
Yes, it was one of the highlights of the commentary. Was George's skullduggery. George does not want to be struck in the face, but of course he's all too willing to pop Hans in the face with a nice little right uppercut there. Got some various maneuvers in the ropes. I think initially you were kind of befuddled by the counting and whatnot. By the end, did it sort of make sense? Like basically you want to stay away from the ropes. If you're in the ropes, it's an illegal sort of bit of contact.
I do still think, I swear I saw it in the beginning, they were like, he was like on his knees. Maybe he grabbed a rope, but like it felt like they were like counting at like different points that I would normally see them counting at in like a regular match. But okay. Yeah. Understood by the end.
A fair amount of begging off. So George does this kind of tactical thing. Sometimes he'll just sort of like plead for mercy and then run away a little bit. Other times, and this is a move that he pulled a few times during the match, he would put both of his hands behind his back as to basically say, you wouldn't hurt a defenseless man, would you? Or anything like that. Like those were just little bits of just bastard fucking bad guy pro wrestler stuff, just cowardly bullshit wrestling that I enjoy quite a bit. I also think the referee, great refereeing, maybe asserted himself too much. I guess we'll kind of come to the end of the match here in a little bit, but very assertive. Anytime he saw something that was against the rules that he didn't like, not afraid to kind of get in there, break up the holds, kind of, get physical with the guys as needed.
Sorry, Eric, I don't want to run this long or cut you off, but I did just go back and rewatch that clip that I said at the beginning.
Okay.
Where like there was a weird pin move.
Yes.
And they're not on the ropes. I don't know what he's on his knees like. And the ref is just like, maybe he's not like hitting the mat, but he's throwing his like hands down. He's like 1, 2, like he's doing it. Here, let me give you a timestamp. Like,
please.
6, like start at 6:40.
Okay. All right, I'm watching it right now. Yeah, no, his foot's underneath the rope.
Not this.
Okay.
It's the next one, like
his foot's still underneath the rope. This time it's George's foot's underneath.
Foot is underneath the rope.
George's foot was underneath the rope that second time. His left foot was under the rope.
Like he's not touching the rope though.
You don't have to be touching the rope. If you break the plane of the rope. Well, you want to know the answer? That's the fucking answer.
Actually, you can't even tell necessarily from this. Like,
yeah, not from that angle, but like if you were looking at it from the side, you'd be able to see that his leg is underneath the plane of the rope. You don't have to be touching the rope physically. If you literally break the plane of the rope, you are officially out of bounds. I mean, is that sufficient enough for you? I mean, that's the answer. I can make up a bullshit thing if you want.
I'm saying it's like not. I'm just like barely like.
This is not fucking horseshoes. It's not close enough. He's either in the ropes or he's not in the ropes. He was in the ropes. Count begins being administered. That's an illegal maneuver at that point. Just talk to me. I'm your fucking expert over here, dog. I'll help you out. Was there a favorite move that you had of the match, Ryan? Was there one thing that kind of stuck out to you? I thought that Hans Schnabel's blockbuster that he used to win that second fall was a well-executed little suplex there.
There was a couple, like right after I said this match fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Like they got a little into it, and I was like, oh shit, I should.
Yeah, there were some strike exchanges, especially Gorgeous George great selling. When he would get punched in the face, he just starts shaking his head and his wild curls would go everywhere. He very, very excellent selling in my opinion.
There was a couple of those, but it was few and far, like in between. But like for the 1950s, you got to respect that. Like
you got to respect it. But yeah, they kind of go back and forth a little bit. I think right after you said that, they start exchanging blows. We've got some maneuvers where Hans literally grabs Gorgeous George by the hair and kind of throws him across the ring over and over. George comes back with some big flying headlock takeovers. That leads to the pinfall on Hans Schnabel, which was the first fall. George took that, which I think you said you were surprised that George won the first fall.
Yeah, I did. I just couldn't lean it one way or the other on this. Like, it seemed very quick. Like, it was very even, and then all of a sudden he was down. Like, So that was it.
Jumping ahead, though, so yeah, kind of a little bit of back and forth. I think, again, one of the things that you could really tie wrestling of today and of the 90s and whatever to, this match from 1950. There's a bit where George has Hans in a leg lock submission hold, and George starts using the rope for leverage. He starts pushing against the rope. The referee catches Gorgeous George, makes him break. He creates that separation. Classic fucking shit. We've seen that in matches from the 90s. I'm sure we've probably seen that type of thing in the 2000s as well. But yeah, very, very good stuff. We've got George with the big blockbuster suplex that leads to him getting a pinfall, so we're tied up at 1 fall apiece to both men. When the third fall starts up, pretty quick one overall. They exchange a series of strikes. Hans slams George into the turnbuckle repeatedly, which that honestly looked pretty fucking brutal. I don't know that I would want to take kind of that inverted, like just getting my tailbone slammed into the top of the turnbuckle, but George took a couple of those, and then as he's trying to climb back into the ring, Hans keeps punching him away, shoving him off. Referee tries to intervene. He gets shoved for his trouble, and of course that leads to Hans getting disqualified, which means Gorgeous George is the winner of his second fall, so he wins it 2 falls to 1.
I've taken some losses, where I'm like, damn, fair loss.
Yeah.
This one was another bullshit fucking loss that shouldn't have happened. All right.
Why did you pick Hans? Just out of curiosity.
Hans looked like a classic Chicago guy. Like, I know he's German, but like he looked like a guy who's like just a Chicago big guy. Like, it's black and white, but like black hair. Like, he looked like that kind of guy you see on the street who like just does wrestling on the side. But he really works in like
one of those guys, yeah, of course.
Yeah, like, he's probably in the Great Chicago Fire, like, your stories of it. that's this kind of guy Hans is. And
I think you were a little biased against the human orchid, if I'm being honest.
There's something about, like, the way his hair, like, that fucking bothers me for some reason. Like, the way people did themselves up back in the day, and I don't know. It just bothered me. And so, like, Hans, this guy who's out there in 1950s just living his life, and he wrestles sometimes, like.
You would have been the exact type of person to go out and buy a TV set so you could see somebody beat the shit out of Gorgeous George.
That's exactly. Like, and he did. He did beat the shit out of Gorgeous George, and he fucking lost. Like,
you can't win them all. But after the disqualification is announced, Gorgeous George, he grabs a wooden chair, brings it to the ring.
Which was nice touch.
I know you were really hoping for that. Tries to use it, but the referee sort of like this referee, he wasn't taking any fucking shit from anybody. So Schnabel gets shoved out of the ring, and that's basically it.
There was, and the one thing I would like when I rank this match, I'll give it like there's so many connections to like what wrestling is now that I have to respect it. I'm just saying, like, watching it, I'm like, I'm a young guy in the 2020s, exactly. I don't live in the 1950s. Right? Like,
you'd love to talk to somebody and have dinner from somebody with the 1950s.
Absolutely.
But, yeah.
Why? Why'd you act that way?
Tell me why right now. Anything else worth noting, mentioning, etc. before we rank it?
I don't think so.
Okay. Let's do it. Let's do.
It's gonna be another hard match to rank.
Let's do the ranking.
It's like a separate category for shit like this.
What? I mean, unfortunately, it's not how this works. That's not how we do this. Everything is on one list. Anything that is a professional wrestling match gets added to our list. This will be the 66th match that we have seen so far. I've heard a fucking dog from your end for the better part of a fucking.
Oh, I'm sorry. I have to hear this for like 20 minutes.
Whose dog is this? Is this a neighbor?
I have to fucking listen to this all night. Like,
that's not a roommate's dog, is it?
No, we don't have dogs. It's a fucking neighbor's dog.
What type of dog is it?
Probably a little dog.
It sounds like a fucking asshole of a dog.
Yeah, not a fan.
Is it just outside all the time? What the fuck's happening here?
No, it just barks at night. Like, I should tell you this other thing. Maybe I have my sheets up. I'm analyzing right now.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
But just so down here, I don't know, like up in Washington, you know how the birds chirp at like 6 a.m.,
sure,
5 a.m., whatever. Like that's how you kind of know it's like morning.
Yeah.
That happens here at like fucking 11 p.m.
What? Really?
It is awful. Like it throws my sleep off. It like fucks me up. Like because it sounds like it's morning, but it's fucking like 11 p.m. It's weird.
Sounds like you need a noise machine.
I got my little head thing on, but like it's weird. Las Vegas little thing.
Las Vegas birds.
Anyway, I kind of want to rank this like just because I can respect history, you know, and you know, like if I enjoy this match, like not really like it's a match, but the tie-ins to like what wrestling is today, you gotta respect that.
Sure, you gotta.
And I kind of want to put it like higher because of that, and like feel like throwing it in okay would be like a little disrespectful.
Okay.
So I would throw it at the very bottom end of like good only for what it means to like today's wrestling, if that makes sense. Like
no, I think that makes sense to me.
So like the new, I guess 26.
Okay. All right. New 26. All right. Bear with me for a moment. Okay, there we go. New 26. Not quite the new number one, but you know what? Still, we got a good match out of this, everybody. And we learned some history, some stuff that I would imagine, because I certainly didn't know this until I started putting my notes together. I would imagine a lot of the folks listening probably didn't know a whole lot of that either. So hopefully you found this informative and entertaining little episode. Edutainment. That's a merger of education and entertainment there for you, Ryan. But we gotta finish it. It's a sad state of affairs, I know, but I'm admittedly very sweaty. Ryan, I would expect, is probably very hungry, and so we got to end it. And so we got to end it.
Sweaty?
Huh?
Why are you sweaty?
Because it's summertime. It's hot, and I don't have like air conditioning down here in the basement of Hedonism 4. You remember sweating out of your eyeballs here once upon a time, not too long ago. But let's finish it out with a little segment we like to call Eric's Wisdom Tree. Oh man, what do we want to impart? What do I feel like today, Ryan? What do I feel like? You know, Ryan, you'll never regret spending money on making a memory.
Yeah, I've been feeling that way recently.
Is that what you call your Uber Eats habits? Is making memories with all your cool food that you're ordering from McDonald's and shit?
Eric, I consider myself a pretty like financially responsible guy. I keep my credit score in line. I contribute my 401k, my Roth. I do all that. But you never know when you're going to die, you know. And you know, credit card debt or just wasting your money like that. It's just things that you won't have to pick up when you want your debt. You know, you should be out there fucking spending your youth on some great memories. You know, like
right.
You should be purchasing memories, not purchasing goods. You know,
yeah, for sure.
And we were just on we're going back up to Seattle in late September, and we do these trips like a lot now. It's great. Like, you know, go to Sacramento, go to Vegas, we go to Seattle, wherever. And like, but one of my friends had a baby recently, and he's like, "Oh man, like, you know, you can't go. Like, Otherwise, like I got to bring the baby in the wild. We're like, dude, Taylor, come on. Like we may only have like 10 or 15 more times to like chill together. We don't know when we're gonna die. Like,
exactly.
We're not counting years anymore. We're counting time.
You're counting quarter miles at a time.
Instances, like how many, and you don't know when that's gonna end. You should spend your money on memories. I'm not being super responsible. I'm dropping, $300-400 a plane ticket to go over I want to now, and just like, do I have a shitload of money laying around? No, but do I have some money laying around that comes in? Do I work to make money? Yeah, so I'm just fucking out there having a great time, and take care of your health. But, you should do that, and that's But hey, spend money on your memories. I actually, Eric, this is like this resonates with me so fucking hard. I don't know how you brought this up, but we were just talking about it, and I totally agree. Spot on, fucking Eric. This is the Eric's wisdom I've been waiting for like many years.
I'm not even going to argue anything because I don't want to dampen the mood in here. But no, I heard somebody say it, and at the time that I heard it, I was wrestling with the idea because I have our big 5-year anniversary. You only get one. Well, not everybody, but for hopefully you only have one 5-year anniversary in your life when you're a married couple.
It's like 5 years?
It has been 5 years, yes.
Since you were married? Oh, wow. I thought it was longer.
Our actual anniversary is like 2 days from the time of this recording, but we're celebrating it in September, actually, right around the time that this is going to be airing, or Labor Day weekend. I was trying to deliberate because we're going to Maui, and I've never been to Maui. I've been to all the other islands of Hawaii.
You'll love it.
I'm sure I will. I'm going to get some Maui Cookie Lady. It'll be a fantastic little time. But so we're doing and nothing's like cheap on Maui, but we're doing like a somewhat less expensive Airbnb for the first part of the trip, and then the last few nights of the trip is like, okay, let's do something really nice, something we ordinarily wouldn't do. It's not like we've been traveling a ton during the pandemic or anything. So it's let's do something nice. It's our 5-year anniversary. Like, my wife doesn't even know specifically what I booked, but I basically booked a corner suite at the Westin in Maui.
Is that like a pretty nice? I would assume it's like beach.
I mean, yeah, everything's like a beach hotel in Maui, but yeah, and the Westin is like one of the upper tier chains of could I have found something that would cost more? Yes. But this is easily the most I've ever spent on a hotel room.
Would it be rude to ask? Just curious.
Now I'm not sure. Let's see. I have
give me a page.
I have a figure in mind.
Have you booked it yet, or are you just planning on
I have booked it.
Oh, you booked it. Okay.
It's done. Oof.
Are you thinking maybe we should hold back on spending on memories?
No, it's whatever. It's done. Yeah, so this isn't what the actual fuck, man. This is what this is like the grand total with fucking resort fees and all that other shit. But it basically came out to $2,000 a night.
Oh, for 3 nights?
Yeah.
So that's big. That's big money.
That's not an insubstantial amount of money.
You said $2,000 total for the. I was like, that's actually pretty expensive too. But then per night,
yeah. So
that's hey, Eric, good on you. First of all, your wife's gonna good husband. Dropping a lot of. I know you guys both work. Whatever. But
right.
I'm just good planning. I like it. I like where you're going with it. And take some fucking pictures. I'm curious to see what this, this corner suite fucking looks like.
Supposedly it has like a big tub that's overlooking the water.
Is it a heart shape?
I don't think it's a heart-shaped tub. That would be nice, but I don't think it's that. I think we get exclusive access to not just us, but you get access to a special bar that's adults only bar and has its own pool. I don't know. It seems very nice.
Is it all inclusive? Do you get your meals with this, or is that
no?
So it's really expensive.
So it's really fucking expensive. But
damn, dude, Eric. props to you, man. Like
sometimes you got to spend money to make memories.
This is what I'm fucking saying right there, dude. This is the heart of what I'm saying. Aaron Johnson is the heart of it. Like
I've been saying that for years. I'm the heart of Ryan Murphy.
When are you guys going? The end of September, you said?
Beginning of September, the Labor Day weekend.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
Good for you, dude. That's what I'm talking about. That is the exact shit. I couldn't agree more with what you're saying right now. I'm in the mood for that. I don't know if I'm hitting like this could be my midlife crisis. I don't know. Like, but maybe I'm hitting it, and I'm just ready to fucking go out there and just live. And I think you should spend your money on this shit.
For your sake, nice. For Greta's sake, I'm going to hope that this is not your midlife crisis. But sometimes you got to live as if it might be that. So that's my main takeaway. It's nice. You will never regret spending money on making a memory. Although I'm going to test that theory.
I saw your face when you looked this up. But I could not agree more. So
what a cordial ending. No, they're not always this cordial, everybody, for the Hard Mark podcast, but this one certainly was. So we will be back with Rumpus Time on September 8th. Be on the lookout for that. And if you are not hard, get hard. Once you get hard, stay hard. That's all, folks. The Cock of Justice.